This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. Always love when we talk with somebody like her, somebody creative, and the work that they do, and from the beginning to the end, what it actually looks like. She is an amazing interior designer, and we're going to look at some projects today and what was involved in them. I've seen a few. Amazing. She is Trish Bonney. She joins us again on the program. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Very well, very well. We're going to start with a project, and I believe we're starting with the kitchen, right?
Yes. Go ahead and share.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Okay. So these are the before photos. It is a 1960s bungalow in Denver.
Gotcha. And just from the layman's eyes, I'm going to describe it for anybody that can't see it if you're listening only, that nothing bad about this kitchen, although the cabinets are that, I want to call it that oak look, so it's not dark, it's not light. A couple of stainless steel appliances. Backsplash actually is kind of nice. Again, this is the before. Looks like some stonework on the backsplash. I guess I would call it just a, basic kitchen. Kind of looks to me like when you rent a place, an apartment, that's kind of the kitchen that would be there. Not maybe one that's in somebody's home. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just describing it. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's more of your typical builder grade cabinetry, um, with a very inexpensive backsplash. But what was nice about this home, you can see the architectural details of the cove ceiling, which was really nice.
Hmm.
I wanted to honor stuff like that, and the hardwood floors are original to the home.
Ooh.
So it was also in hopes to keep those items some way, somehow. But this was also going to be the new home for a mom and her daughter. Mom had recently gotten divorced, came from a 3,000 plus square foot Victorian home. So this was a huge difference. So we did have to do an addition as well. But mom and daughter do cook a lot. So there was a lot more to this than what you see here.
Hmm. You mentioned the ceiling. What did you call that again?
It's a coved ceiling, so it's a nice little arch on the ceiling. It gives a really cool detail. That was kind of an architectural flair in the 50s and 60s that they would add to these. This is a one-story tiny bungalow.
Hmm. It's so amazing how pictures can sometimes make it something look differently. Like you say, this is a bungalow. I wouldn't get a bungalow from these pictures, but and we're going to
No,
maximize the space.
yeah, this is just a tiny photo of just the kitchen area, which, I'm just focusing on that portion of for this podcast. But this was a home where it was a full total gut remodel and an addition to the home.
Wow. All right. So walk us through that journey. What comes next?
I always do three options for every single aspect. So we did three different floor plans, but this was the floor plan that the client landed on. And once we do the floor plan, then we create these renderings. I just kind of put them all into one drawing so we can show everybody everything. But again, you see a huge difference. This was a client who was not afraid of color. This is one of my favorite projects. She owned a company where they have hot air balloons. And I was very inspired by all the colors of her balloons, especially in the kitchen. So there's a lot of big nods to that. Once we determine the kitchen, I also want to make sure there's that triangle that we always talk about. That triangle is becoming more non-existent as kitchens get bigger and bigger and bigger. But for her in particular, baking was a huge thing with her daughter. So I did make sure that I wasn't going too far, but I also wasn't too close so that they could work in there together.
Hmm.
Um, These are, this drawing here is what you call a floor plan. This is an elevation of this particular area. So when you're looking at it and it goes up instead of being on the floor, that's what this is depicting. And you can see we call out the light fixtures, the size of the cabinets. I even showed what's going to be there. So doors, drawers, etc. And this is if I took a chainsaw and cut right through here. So you can understand what an elevation is.
Oh my gosh. I got to tell you, Trish, I've heard the word elevation, but more connected with an architect with uh, building a house, like the actual the elevations of the land. It's a little higher, low here, blah, blah, blah. I've never heard that term used in this instance, but it is so important to know what the height of the cabinet's going to be, the lights coming down, and all of that. And by the way, super cool that you offer three different versions to somebody so they can kind of either pick one or mix and match, that kind of thing.
Yes. And in her case, we offered three different color stories,
Mhm.
not only with like tiles and cabinet colors, but even considering the fabrics that will go on the bar stools, because we did do custom bar stools for her, um, three different light fixtures. So the whole thing, you get three different options with my team. And this is just another elevation. And I kind of go out all the way around the room and I show you what elevation I'm actually pointing out here. Um, these are more close-ups. These are just renderings. And this project was done quite a few years ago. Renderings have come a really long way. So these are still not as, they're a little more cartoony than what they are now. Now they are even more photorealistic. A lot of times you may see a rendering on social media and not know that it's not the real thing. But this, at least, even though it is a little bit cartoony looking, it gives the client a really good idea of exactly what to expect when they have decided on all their finishes. So this is actual photos. So you can see we are pretty darn close from the before or the thought that's in my mind, the
Hmm.
dream. And this is reality. This is how it actually turned out. And when I
Wow.
say her hot air balloons, like even the light fixtures that I finally found,
Ha.
they kind of remind me of a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know, it's in that realm and a lot of the geometric patterns that were on her balloons. It was really, really fun doing her space because again, obviously she's not afraid of color, loves all the different colors. And this was actually a project that we had on the cover of a magazine for specifically for kitchens.
Wow. Want to go back to what you said before, the proposed photos and how they could be a little cartoony. I didn't think they were. They look real close to, the finished product. The only difference is maybe a little bit of the shadow shading like that. You might not be
Yeah.
seeing it because now when you look at the real deal, I have light coming from different areas, and but short of that, what's this? And for anybody that can't see this, it's a green color, and I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's not like a dark green, it's not a light green. What is this color called? How would you describe it?
It's actually called juniper berry. And what we did, it's very close. There is a color from it's PPG is the brand. It wasn't exact. What I did was I took the tile in and I had them color match the tile so it was exact, but it was literally maybe a shade off of the actual juniper berry color that they offer.
Hmm. I
But
would
this,
say if I put any word, sort of a teal, not a teal, much richer than a teal. I'm interested in that backsplash, which is essentially the same color. And my first thought, not being a designer, that I would look at that, or if you described, yeah, I'm going to make the backsplash pretty much the same color as the cabinets and the lights and everything, I would think, oh, Trish, I don't know, that might be a little too much. Uh-uh. It all works beautifully here.
well, this is not everybody's cup of tea. So last week we spoke about how I designed specifically for my clients' wants and needs. This was specifically all about her and her only. Again, she had gone through a divorce and she wanted a house that was just for her.
Mm,
Nobody else helped her pick out anything. She just wanted a lot of fun and vibrancy and joy in the home. And
mm,
it's kind of sad because I can't really show it in the photos, but even the countertop we had found, it's 100% recycled material and it has a lot of different specs of all of the colors. A lot of the colors you see right here on the fabric on the back of the bar stool was also in the countertops. And like I said, sadly, it doesn't show up very well in these photos, but she just wanted to be really happy and joyful when she woke up every morning. And you can see we did do, like I said, it was a full house remodel. So we also worked with some of her existing items. Like this was some of her existing pottery that you see on those shelves, the dining room set that you see in the background
mm.
that was existing. She had a lot of amazing antiques that I was able to use and repurpose for her project, which again, recycling and repurposing already owned items or items that you can find like at an antique store or online auctions. Those are huge money savers. She let me rummage through her garage and I salvaged two of her chairs that she had in there that she did not think could be repaired, which are now living in her living room. And then I also found a dresser that I used for her bathroom vanity. So those, again, were big money savers for her that we were able to reuse.
Wow. What was her hot air balloon connection? That's her business.
That's her business.
Hmm. Do,
So,
do you think that
go.
because she's always working with brightly colored balloons that maybe that kind of translated here?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I always try to ask people very personal questions like what is something that you hold near and dear to your heart? The fact that she had her own business. And another thing, and I can go to this next photo, these are renderings again. Another thing was she had a rock that she had found when she was walking with her mother, and it had these beautiful pinks in it. And it was something she still held on to because after the walk and after this holding this rock, her mother had passed. So we had based her bathroom and kind of her bedroom on that. She wanted it very feminine, but it was something that she held very near to, her memories of her mom. So it was something that I used as my jump off point, my inspiration for this particular space. And then this is the real space. And there's that antique that I spoke about that was also her mom's that we utilized in the space. But I found natural um, quartz from over in Italy that had pink tones in it. And this is also a natural stone. Again, you can't see it, but it has a real iridescent color to it. And then this is that living room that I talked about. These are the two chairs that we salvaged out of her garage. And we had them reupholstered, and I had an amazing craftsman put them back together for her.
Hmm. Now it's all coming together. The
It's a
kitchen,
lot.
well, everything works well together in terms of
Mhm.
these colors because you have lack of a better description, an orangey kind of color going with the green color. But I guess unlike other places, other projects, it's a small space with the bungalow. You're going to see the living room when you're looking at the kitchen and vice versa. So unlike, well, we'll make this room completely different because it's off to its, unto itself. No, it's really part of the same project, if you will. And those two colors work beautifully together.
Yes, and you can see, well, it might be hard to see, but there is one of her hot air balloons that she received for a holiday one year.
Wow.
But this was the color story, the artwork was the color story that I used to inspire me for her kitchen and living room, which, yes, they're very open to one another. And as you can see, we we kept that color story going. And again, this is a woman who lived in a Victorian home, so it is very antique and still trying to bring the love for the Victorian
Mm,
era into this bungalow, which it's okay to go outside of the era of the home, but it still fits within the era. In my opinion, it works really well
yeah.
with again with the cove ceilings, which gives a really nice architectural detail to the space. But again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It was specifically for and only for her. This was one of the addition portions in the bedroom. Um, and again, it's kind of still going in that same color theory of the other spaces. And this was a fabric she personally had found when she had gone and traveled in Italy. She brought this silk all the way back and had kept it for years, but never used it. So
Wow.
this is what her space turned out to be. It was, again, just for her. And she's loved this one. Her kitchen has won awards, been in magazines, and
Mm,
she still contacts me and says how thankful she is for her spaces. So it was
mm.
really fun.
It's so cozy looking. And looking at the kitchen, I'm not getting Victorian right away, but when you pair it with the other rooms, especially the
Yeah,
dining room table, especially some of the other furniture, there was a lamp that was on top of something in a previous photo. Um, yeah, that lamp
this
by the
one.
curtain, get the Victorian vibe coming back. And then is that on one wall, is that wallpaper or wall covering?
This is wallpaper.
Yeah.
So we used some wallpaper in her living room and some more in her bedroom. She just wanted one feature wall. Again, I did this was all done in just before COVID, and during COVID it finally finished up in 2020. But the one single feature wall is not as popular now. It's kind of go big, go home, do all the walls, possibly even the ceiling. But I would say because the wallpapers that she fell in love with, they are a bit busy. That would be a lot in one space. But the one wall, I think, worked out really well for her.
Mm. How do you know as a designer that you're not overdoing it? This is beautiful. But you're there, you get a clean slate, you're trying to figure out, all right, I'm going to give them three options. I'm going to put some here, color there. How do you know that you're not overdoing it or that's just come with your intuition, design intuition, if you will, and experience?
Well, each style also has its own amount of maximalism versus minimalism or something in between. This type of style and this particular client, she obviously is a little bit of a maximalist. And, when we go to photograph, we may even pare things down. So there was some things that I took away just for the photos, but this era does have a lot of maximalism. It's a lot of, and it's not just stuff, it's layering a lot of patterns and textures, lots of different fabrics. So you can see we definitely did that with there is a different drapery fabric. You can't see it very well, but there's multiple different fabrics on the ottoman. You can see on the sofa, I have the seat cushions are one fabric and the base of it and the arms and the back are something different.
Mm,
Different fabrics on the pillows, the chairs, and then you've got area rugs, and we really tapped into the more traditional looking area rugs. So it is for her and for this style, it was all about layering different materials, which for me is very exciting. Um, I don't know. I like all the different patterns, making them all work. This could be scary for a lot of people. And that if that's not their style, that's not what we're going to do. We'll tone it way down. But again, she did not have any fear and it was so fun. Like she picked this design out when it was just showing her little tiny fabric swatches, little tiny samples of tile, and just little bits and pieces. And when you have somebody put that much faith in you immediately, that's when you know it's going to be a really good outcome.
I really love that you take colors and put them together, but in ways that we wouldn't normally think. Like, and this is for the rest of us where, hey, I'm just going to go to insert name of store. I'm going to buy some curtains. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You're not going to get the same pop, the same vibrancy, the same togetherness in the design, right down to those curtains where she had that fabric, but it looks like it was sewn into a fabric on top.
Yes, so I found we had enough silk to make a lot of things, but I knew I wasn't going to have enough fabric for ceiling to floor drapery. So, like this fuchsia pink, it is a velvet. And then this is another velvet in a navy, but you see, we bring it back over in other areas to make sure it's cohesive. And it's brought in, the color story came from the area rug that she picked out, but we had to pick that area rug after the orange. So it just kept building uh, on top of everything. So, and in here, we utilized a lot of her antiques. This was her chair, her dresser. There's a writing desk that we used. She had the bed. So again, it was meshing what she already had existing into something brand new for her.
Those curtains, I don't think I would want to see it any other way. Yes, that silk fabric she found in Italy, yeah, it's nice. It's really nice and it fits. But you adding the complementary colors, including one that addresses the kitchen, which you can see from this room as well. Whoa. I mean, it just, and the rest of us don't know that you didn't have enough of her fabric. Nobody would even think that.
Right.
Yeah, this is, it's beautiful. Everything just, the word that's screaming at me is balance. Everything has its own nice little balance here. Beautiful. Yeah, but this is why you hire a designer that knows what they're doing. Because nobody could do this on their own and get the same vibe from it, especially taking a very smaller space and putting that all together. And I love the fact you have three options, because I might see something on this one, but I like the third one. But can we put this from the first one onto the third one and kind of work it that way?
I always, when I come up with the three options, I always have in my head that we can take parts of option one and bring it into two or three. So it can all work together technically. But yeah, you only need so many items. And sometimes, like this client in particular, she got really excited about obviously all the upholstery and the fabrics. So we did collectively use some from almost every option, but that's what just makes it more rich and come to life.
Amazing. Trish, how do we work with you? Somebody, even if they just have some questions, what's the best way to connect with you?
If you go on our website, there is an area where you can contact us, and that'll go directly to my email, which that's the best and quickest way to get hold of me. Otherwise, you can call our office number, which is also on our website. If you Google Tab Interior Designs, you can also find our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the things just under Tab Interior Designs.
Excellent. You make it fun. Like just looking at this, I'm feeling inspired. It's almost endless what we can do, but we don't know how to do it or even know how to reel it in or, pop in some color there. And I love also that you address her affinity for balloons. That's her life. So
Yeah.
it's all part of the mix. Thank you for sharing this today. It's really
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward next time we get together.
All right. Thanks for having
Appreciate it.
me.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.